Welcome to Workplace Psychology with Dr. Martha Greidick. I'm Dr. Martha Greidick. This podcast examines a wide variety of work-related issues through the lens of industrial and organizational psychology. And while many of the topics discussed here may be seen as intended for white-collar employees and their employers, in reality, the ideas presented here are applicable across organizations and industries. Additionally, many of the topics discussed here may be applicable outside of the workplace. I encourage you to examine what's presented here, apply what makes sense to you, and simply discard the rest. We've all experienced stress and anxiety in life, be that in our personal lives or while at work. And although we may have a certain amount of time and circumstance, a certain luxury of time and circumstance to deal properly with a stressful situation in our personal life, that may not always be the case when it comes to our time at the workplace. When we are at work, we have to keep it together, we have to remain professional, and we may not have the option or the luxury to lose our cool. Doing so may have detrimental effects. It may be harmful to your future with the company. It may be harmful to your reputation. So there are many reasons why it's particularly important to make sure that you have in your toolbox the kinds of tools that will help you to calm yourself when you are facing a stressful or an anxiety-provoking situation at the workplace. Today, I will tell you about some simple yet effective practices that you can use to help yourself in a difficult situation. Of course, this can be used in your personal life as well as while you're at work. These practices are simple but effective, which is what I like best: simplicity and effectiveness. If things are simple, you're much more likely to engage in the practices. And if they're effective, well, then they're serving their purpose. I want to point out that what I'll be sharing with you in this episode is intended for situations where you have the ability to course correct. This is not effective or not as effective once you're past a certain point. If you are in panic mode or if you're experiencing a panic attack, you may need a different set of tools to address what you're experiencing at that time. But that's another conversation. For today's episode, I'm talking about regaining control, keeping your cool in the midst of a difficult or stressful situation or an anxiety-provoking situation before things get out of control. One of the simplest things that we can do is distract and redirect, and that goes for our minds and our emotions. Being able to distract and redirect yourself can be very helpful. That means interrupting a thought or a behavior, distracting your mind and your emotions so that you don't continue down a path that could lead to more trouble, but rather allowing you, that distraction will then allow you to redirect yourself into a place where you can become more pulled together, more controlled, more calm and cool. And after all, when you think about any stressful situation where there's a potential of it escalating, it's in your best interest and the best interest of those around you, those involved, that you do something to not allow the situation to escalate. And this is the same for all of us. So, distracting yourself as step one and then redirecting yourself are very simple and straightforward, yet very effective. Whenever you distract yourself, be that your thoughts, your behaviors, your emotions, you are effectively disrupting some kind of pattern, some kind of trajectory, and then you are able to more effectively redirect. If you're plowing ahead and you never disrupt that forward momentum, then it's much harder to redirect. So first we have to distract, and that gives us an opportunity to redirect. Redirecting can be very helpful in becoming more calm, more cool and collected, of letting go of high emotions or stopping certain behaviors that will not serve you. So how do you effectively distract and redirect yourself when in the midst of a difficult situation, something that's stressful or anxiety provoking? Well, there are different ways of doing that, and I encourage you to try what I present here. Try the different things and see what works for you. And different things may work better in different situations. So for example, engaging in breath work or just breathing differently can be very helpful. So stopping whatever is happening, like literally stopping yourself in your tracks to take 30 seconds or a minute or 3 minutes to do some breath work. You would be amazed how effective that can be in stress reduction. You are effectively stopping whatever other behavior or thoughts or emotions you were consumed by, and engaging in breathing, for example, which by its very nature can be extremely calming. Of course, this requires work and effort on your part. It doesn't just magically happen. You have to consciously stop whatever is happening that could be escalating the situation, and instead focusing on something that will help to decrease the situation at hand or de-escalate it. So something as simple as breath work. Taking some time to count and getting creative. Some people, you may have heard, count to 10 as a way of calming themselves down. And of course that works. But another good way of distracting and redirecting is counting backwards. Maybe you say to yourself, okay, I will count backwards from 100 by 7. That requires a little more thought than counting from 1 to 10. Because unfortunately, many people can count from 1 to 10 and do it while they're stewing over whatever just happened. But if you have to do some math in your head, then you are much more likely to effectively distract yourself. You could also involve your senses. You might want to sit back and take a couple of breaths and then decide to look around you, involve your eyesight, and identify everything that is blue or green in your surrounding area. That will get your mind off of whatever else was happening. You could use your sense of hearing, for example, where you close your eyes and you can identify the different sounds that you hear around you. Of course, if there are sounds that are stressful, like loud noise or maybe people arguing, that's not the best one. Maybe move on to a different type of sense experience. You could use the sense of touch. Maybe touch something that is in the vicinity in your area. If you have a pet that's available. Maybe you work from home. Petting them could be a good thing to distract you, because not only are you then feeling a different sensation with your hands, with your skin, but you're also experiencing that calming nature that is often associated with pets and animals altogether. Maybe you engage your sense of smell if there are plants or flowers or any other smells around you. They can be pleasant or unpleasant or just kind of neutral, but it's a good way of distracting yourself away from whatever the stressful, anxiety-provoking situation was. So as you can see, distracting and redirecting is a very simple practice, and you can engage in a variety of ways, but it's very effective. The key is that you have to do it. You have to consciously make the decision and then put in the effort to do it. As today's episode comes to an end, let's quickly review what was discussed. Keeping your cool is key, especially at work. So when facing a stressful or anxiety-provoking situation, it's in your best interest to distract and redirect yourself as a way of not allowing things to escalate and as a way of helping you to become calmer and to be cool and collected. Using your senses, using breath work, or simply engaging in counting, creative counting, are very simple yet effective examples how you can distract and redirect. As the week unfolds, I invite you to try these exercises, these practices, whenever you find yourself in a situation that may be stressful or anxiety-provoking, as a way of regaining control and calming down so that things don't escalate. As with anything else, this requires a conscious decision and actual effort, actual work on your part. But if you engage in this kind of practice regularly, you will become better and better at it with each time that you engage. And remember that what works for you today or what you identify with today may not be the best choice next time. So today it might be breath work, and next time it might be counting. So it's up to you to play with it and find what works best. Thank you for joining me today. Please subscribe to this podcast. I hope that you will join me again next time. Until then, I wish you joy and well-being.